ChatGPT and education. AI has been with us for a long time now. One of the most common one is Facebook. Facebook uses a lot of AI. That's why each of our news feeds is different from one another. So our movements are tracked, whom we friend, which videos we watch, even what items we Google, those are all being tracked. So it's not really free. We are the ones who are actually paying with our own data, with information from our own lives, which are the photos that we like, which are the pages and groups that we belong to. That's all being collected by AI. And so each person's newsfeed is being curated, tailored yan, for us to be able to get something that appeals to us. So that's AI. So this quote says that the function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education, according to Martin Luther King Jr. And this quote emphasizes with us the importance of developing critical thinking skills and character in education. As I mentioned earlier, AI is a tool. So just like any other tool that is on our hands, like our phones, all of it can be used for good or it can be used for evil. And it's up to us to figure it out. But behind all of that, before all of that, comes the character development. So the idea, of course, is for us to make that as our priority, molding behavior, molding good values in our children so that whatever comes their way, we will be able to know that they will choose the right thing. However, that doesn't remove the responsibility for us, who are the parents and teachers, to understand these things, even not as deeply as they might, because they are more familiar with technology. Our children are digital natives. We're just learning it now as adults. It's still up to us to help them and guide them. So what is ChatGPT? So pina-explain ko in Tagalog, no? The good thing about ChatGPT is it's also a language model that can be translated in many languages. So as you can read, I asked ChatGPT what it is in Taglish in a way that a 10-year-old can understand. So that's what ChatGPT gave me. And so in other words, it's like having a very, very smart friend that you can ask at any point in time. And it will always have an intelligent answer because it has the internet as its brain. Okay. But this friend of yours, this ChatGPT, is a robot. So it does not have emotions and it cannot really tell what is right or wrong. So for example, the topic that you're asking it about is very limited, is written about it in the internet. And what if the information that can be found online is extremely biased? ChatGPT will give you a very biased answer. It cannot make up another ethical or more moral argument if we cannot find anything in the internet about it, which is why, while it's super intelligent, it's still a robot, okay? But it's like having an assistant with you, or yun nga, a sidekick who will do all the hard work of researching the data in the internet and then just hand it over to you in a silver plate. So that's the power of ChatGPT. And it can do it in a way that is with a human voice. So it's like really chatting with a friend from abroad, for example, a professor friend from abroad who knows so many things. So you are given many answers to any of your questions. One of the things that we know is being talked about is, will AI take over our jobs? Because of this AI in many areas, there are skills that are now more plentiful. Sobrang dami nang nakakaalam how to do things. Sobrang mabilis na at madali na. So the question being, are we still preparing our students for the future? Are the skills that are we giving them, is this really preparing them for the future? When even new jobs, for example, as social media manager or content creator, those are jobs that are relatively new. Maybe just in the last decade, talagang income na siya for people. But with AI, na napakadali nang gumawa, it's so easy to make content. It's so easy to come up with a simple post on social media. Even their jobs are in danger. So the thing is, we have to learn more things that computer can't do. As I mentioned, it's still a robot. It doesn't have emotions. It does not know ethics, unless that's what you're asking it to. It will search the internet to give you an ethical answer based only on the words that it can find on the internet. So it's not really thinking or making a decision based on that. So, for example, business graduates, instead of them having to need certain knowledge in order to do a business, they would now have to know how to ask the right questions to get that knowledge artificially. If you know the right questions, if you have logic and you know how to find the right questions, then you can get the answer very, very quickly. And it shifts our focus as parent teachers, as educators in the school, to be really process-oriented. So product-oriented or process-oriented? Are we just asking them to comply and do the requirements, or do we want them to learn the process of learning? So ChatGPT is exposing more of the weakness of the traditional and old style of learning, because we already know that the internet has shown us that we don't have to memorize everything. Everything is already on your phone, one click. But you still have to browse through it and look at it and find the right resource. ChatGPT is now much more simple. It can get the information from the internet and turn it into a product already, a product of knowledge that makes sense, right? Like an essay, an article, or an advice, right? So why use it in education? So there are at least, I just have four here, four reasons: increased engagement and participation, personalized learning, enhanced accessibility, and time saving makes you more efficient. So for increased engagement and participation, ChatGPT can create interactive and personalized learning that cater to each interest and needs. It's like having your own personal tutor for your students, instead of them needing a teacher or a parent teacher to have all the answers. Now it's like your Google, you already have an assistant teacher that's looking through all the Google results from your query and presenting it to your students in a manner that they can understand. So pinadali yung process. Kesa isa-isahin mo pa yung mga lumabas sa Google, ano na to, naka-summarize na. Instead of you being able to really digest, for example, the content of a book, you can ask ChatGPT to have a summary of the main points and how to explain it to your student in a way that they could understand. So personalized, since, even when you're giving assignments, for example, for a reading assignment, and you're letting the children choose which book they will read, it's hard for a teacher to know and have the time to read all the books. if you have 30 students, what if all of them choose 30 different books? But with this one, you could actually have a summary of each book, and you could even have comprehension questions based on each book. And you would be able to do that in a few seconds at a time. So, ganun siya ka-helpful. And the danger that many are talking about in the field of education is that students can use ChatGPT to do their assignments, which is true. Dati, when we were young, in generation namin as parents, if many of you are actually younger, what we do to cheat, if we wanted to cheat, was to, bring a código, right? Or copy from another person's exam. But with internet, it's copying and pasting from something you found on Google.
Okay.
Now with ChatGPT, it's even more easy to cheat, because now you can just ask it to do your assignments for you, whether it's solving a math problem or creating an essay or writing an article or coming up with information that you will put on your presentation. If you're going to present about any topic, it's so easy to do that. Okay. So for example, I had it write an essay. So I know it's quite small, but if you can access ChatGPT, you can also try it. I said, write a persuasive essay on why you should register to vote as soon as you're able. Use the voice of a grade 12 student from the Philippines who is a supporter of Leni Robredo. Make it 500 words. So kung babasahin niyo yung content, introduce siya as a grade 12 student, and one of the reasons for voting, it was given there. So, and the positives of registering to vote, why is it beneficial, and a very simple conclusion is also there. So for the purposes of getting an assignment done, ChatGPT will easily do that for you. Right? Does it look perfect? Of course not. It's made by AI. If you revise it, then it will look more like your own writing, right? But if you have 30 students who submit, the truth is not all teachers will have the time to make sure that each one is actually done by a human. There are ways to check, like Chat Zero. So for this particular website, you can check if the content of the material is written by AI or mixed or mostly written by humans. But these ways to check are not perfect. And there are ways that are coming up one after the other that they can paraphrase the results from AI using another AI like Killbot in order for it to sound more human, so that it cannot be detected by the AI detecting websites. So there will be workarounds if the objective is just to pass and get a good grade and accomplish the requirements. Students will find a way for you not to be able to tell that it is AI generated. So when the previous example, a student used it to create an essay. Now teachers can also use ChatGPT to create lesson plans, quizzes, exams, and even solved math problems. So this is extremely helpful, especially for example, I have forgotten most of my high school math, especially algebra, but this can help because this can give you the solution and explain the solution. So whether it is an assignment for the student, like if you're trying to help your child, or if you're a teacher and you need examples to present in class. Okay? But the question is this. The ethical question is, what is cheating and what is innovation? Diba? If innovation is finding an easier and faster way to do the task, then isn't this innovating? Are we innovating, or are we going to encourage cheating? Like in this example here, it's time to rethink plagiarism and cheating. So at the bottom, it's a student wrote all assignment content without consulting AI or the internet. So it's a very student set created output. At the very top is a bot created. Student plugged prompt into an AI like ChatGPT, copied and pasted it to a document and submitted it to teacher. That's all that the child did. So is that cheating? Because the student has to think of the question, right? How about any part in the middle, like, increasing in reliance with the bot? For example, here, the student consulted AI for ideas, maybe nag-Google siya, okay, and then wrote a paper and submitted it. In here, the student wrote the main ideas, generated a draft through AI, and then revised by the student and then submitted. And then here, student created multiple AI responses and used the best one, edited and submitted. And then here, AI created a response, student read, edited, adjusted, and submitted. So different levels of reliance on the chatbot or on the computers. But which one would you say is cheating and which one is, innovating, finding different ways to come up with the best answer or the best project? So one of the things that we could think about is what was once considered cheating is now a tool. Case in point is the calculator. Before, when we were young, calculators were not allowed in the classroom until you were in high school and you had to do complex problems, and then they allowed you to use it. But grade school, no way. Okay. But eventually it was understood by educators that in order to do higher level math, you have to have a calculator. Otherwise, you can't teach higher level math. You'd stop computing the small numbers and not understanding the how-to sa higher level math. So we now know that similar things have occurred. For example, yung spell check. With spell check, we used to think that it's not right for kids to turn that on because it's not helping them come up with the right spelling on their own. However, research has also shown that it actually helps the student if they have immediate feedback. So as you're typing and you're trying to type this word and already it tells you the right spelling, you are actually able to retain it because you are getting the correction right when you are using it, right when that word makes sense to you. Compared to submitting a paper, having the teacher do the corrections, and waiting for days before you get it back. Now the feedback is not as relevant to you because you've lost the momentum of when you really needed that word and when it would have made a bigger difference for you to know the spelling. So it actually helps students in a way to get immediate feedback. One of the jobs that are actually in danger because of ChatGPT is a job that was, the people who will write essays for you or who will write research papers for you. So before, you did that with, a smart student in the classroom, like for example, for college or even in high school. there are very intelligent classmates who would do your assignments for you for a fee. Okay. And then enter internet, and now that job actually is being done by people from all parts of the world, especially for college essays and college research projects. People are actually willing to pay somebody from another country to create the research paper for them, which they will pass to their professors. But with ChatGPT, they felt the immediate impact because a lot of people realized I can now do this on my own with minimal help. So if the main premise being, if people want to cheat, they will. That's why we have to shift our mindset on what we really want to assess. Where in the assignment do we want our students to struggle? And where in the assignment do we want them not to struggle? Okay? And those are the tools that help us in order for us to teach the higher level thinking or the important aspects of whatever it is that we're trying to teach.
Prince of Peace Integrated School now offers a homeschooling program. You can choose a DEP Ed accredited program or a US accredited program powered by Wonderfully Made Kids Global. Call us for more info.
Okay, I just wanted to share that. It was created in Synthesia.ai. Again, completely AI for a certain fee. So this is the free version. That's why hindi na bago yung mga text. But for a fee, you can have somebody read out the script for you, and it is a robot. It is AI generated video, and you could have a presentation made without having to hire an actual person. Okay? And it will, you can choose between different avatars, male or female, and how they look like, and then just type in everything or use ChatGPT to come up with a script, and then have AI generate you a video. Right? That's the power of video. And you can even have another AI compose the music, so it's original. And even the graphics, I have just been able to get Designer Microsoft Access, and it creates graphics that are really nice looking. So everybody here knows Canva, I believe. Okay, so it takes Canva up a notch. So it can compete with Canva very soon because it uses AI generated images and templates for what you want. Okay, but we can also check that if you want. But right now, let's focus on ChatGPT. This is ChatGPT. I'm able to access here because of VPN. So it's not actually still available in Saudi Arabia, but through VPN, I was able to access it. So let's make a new chat first. Okay. So these are the examples of what you can make and capabilities and limitations. Limitations of ChatGPT, the data that it's using currently is mostly from 2021 backwards. So anything that is 2022 to the present is not yet known by ChatGPT unless it has been fed to it. So it's it's continually learning. That's why it's for free right now. It's actually using the data that we do with it for it to continue learning and improving. Okay, so lesson plan for teachers or learning plan for parent teachers. So let's say a simple one, create a lesson plan about parts of the plant. You could think that it's that easy, right? So it's taking some time to think. So now it's coming up with a lesson plan. So since I did not give a grade level, ChatGPT actually from its data that it can find on the internet, this is a lesson that is probably for second and third grade. So siya na nag-isip nun. And now it's giving me actually not a lesson plan, but an activity. So this is what it's coming up because my prompt was very vague. The secret to using ChatGPT is finding the right questions so that you will get the answers you want. Okay? But as you can see, with that prompt, this is what I can get from ChatGPT. Now let's make it more detailed. Okay? So create a learning plan for grade 2 science using the Philippine DepEd K-12 curriculum. Bible integration, suggested activities, and internet links to help teach the lessons. Instead of learning plan, weekly learning plan for grade 2 science 4th quarter. So specifying it is helpful. So let's do that. And then later on, I'll ask it to put it into columns. So this is very helpful for teachers. If you have a better prompt, if you know the learning competencies, you can actually copy the learning competencies and ask it, create a lesson plan for first quarter using these competencies or these topics for science grade 2. And that would come up with a much more like yung swak, diba? Yung a better output that is really what you wanted to come up with. Because what I'm doing here is just I'm asking it to look in the internet for what's available from the K-12 curriculum, right? But if you have the competencies with you and you want, or the list of topics, and you just wanted to create a lesson plan, you can do that. Okay, so it's remembering the conversation. So nagbigay na siya ng lesson plan. I'm asking it to put it into columns, and I hope it understands my instruction. Okay, very good, ChatGPT. So there you have it. The lesson plan is being written right in front of you, which of course, I know as teachers, you can do this by yourselves. But what does it do? It saves you a lot of time, especially if you're trying to look for relevant YouTube videos or internet links that can help you teach the lesson, right? Because it's already doing it for you. Maybe another column could be online worksheets. No, as homeschool parent teachers who are required to submit a learning plan, this can also be helpful. I added Bible integration in here because I wanted to model that this is how you can find a way to easily connect your lessons to Bible topics, even if you're not a pastor or a preacher or very well versed in the Bible. So with this information, you could now do that. Find relevant Bible stories or verses to help you with your lesson integration. So this is very vague. If you're a teacher or a parent teacher looking at it, it still doesn't have the explanation. You can ask ChatGPT to explain or expound on the lesson one by one. So it's an assistant, so it will not give you everything that you need right away. So for example, can you give me the complete lesson on week 5 and how to explain the Bible integration on that part? It will give you that. So i-break down mo siya into smaller tasks. And with ChatGPT, you're just gonna have to copy and paste it into another document. So you can paste this on Excel and then modify it, revise it, right? Find a way to make it work for you and have the correct answers that you want. Yes, game changer. Game changer, really, especially for homeschool parents. I just attended a webinar yesterday about curriculum development or also making learning plans using Charlotte Mason. So, nag-ano siya. Nag-time out yata si ChatGPT. Even if you're not, if you want it to be Charlotte Mason based, then you can ask ChatGPT to do that for you. Make me a Charlotte Mason based learning plan for my grade 1 student. And then you could just modify it. Okay. So the idea is this is really working smarter, yes. And treat it as a draft. This is a robot it's a robot assistant. It's a super duper duper smart robot, but it's still a robot. So it needs your personal touch. It needs your human wisdom for it to come up with the best product, either by feeding it more questions that will generate a better response, or you will now just edit it on your own, right? After you've done that. So another prompt here. Okay. So here, chemistry teacher, science teacher, you can help um, you find things like this for your explanation. Or if I'm a student and I'm struggling with understanding my math, I can feed the math problem and my assignments here and have it explained to me step by step how to solve it. So it's an assistant and it's a tutor. So that's how it works. So for teachers, it's your assistant. For students, it can be their personal tutor. Yes. So very good. You can register and try it now. Okay. So that's the final answer. And you can see how fast it came up with that, right? So another one that you can do is to create prompts. For example, I need to have engaging prompts for my writing assignment for my grade 5. And this is what I thought of. So either for a writing assignment or maybe for a class discussion, I want to have good questions. Create engaging, lagay pa natin engaging. Right. So the ability of this language model to tailor its answer based on age level is also one of the more amazing things it can do. It's because it doesn't have to think about it in the way that we do. It uses information again on the internet to know how would a grade 5 student speak, or how would grade 2 lessons look like, right? So here, I said create engaging prompts for a grade 5 writing assignment on the role of government in protecting children's rights in the Philippines. So the more specific you are, the better your prompt is, the better your results can be. In my blog about ChatGPT in wonderfullymadekids.com, I gave an example of also how can you differentiate two things, two theories, and how can you explain it differently to a grade 2 student and then to a grade 10 student. So it would show you the difference in how you would be able to explain it so that the learner will understand based on their level of maturity. So if you're a teacher of multiple grades and you're talking about the same current event, or no, historical event. I'm saying not current event because again, anything 2022 until the present is still going to come up very inaccurate until maybe they've already updated it. But right now it's still inaccurate. So here are the prompts that it came up with. So do know, be warned that ChatGPT can be biased and it can and will come up with false information, sometimes fake news, totally. Because it's a language model, as I said, it's just getting what's on the internet. That's why it needs human brain, it needs human wisdom. You can't just copy paste it and present to your students right away. But there are so many prompts here for just one question, right? And this is valuable if you have many students. Maybe you want them to write an essay, but just choosing one essay topic might be difficult. Maybe you could use it to come up with at least 3 options for which one that the student is more comfortable in answering. Because the objective of assessment is not so that they could give you an answer based on just one question. Because sometimes they just really have a preference to answer another one because they know more about it and they would be able to express themselves better using a different prompt, right? So this can help you with that. Okay. And then another game changer. Let me see a comment. Hey, let's do a quiz or an exam. So I said create a quiz for grade 2 science based on the 4th quarter learning competencies prescribed in the DepEd curriculum. Make it 30 points, include multiple choice, fill in the blanks, and matching type. So this is the reason why I wanted you teachers to already have this webinar, because I know you're doing the exams, and as I said, this can help. This might not be what you need right now if you've already done all the exams, but if you're still trying to add more items to your exam, maybe this can be helpful for you. You just have to use the right prompts. Tell it what you need. Do you need essay questions? Do you need like matching type questions? You have a better idea of what you're actually looking for, and it will create it for you even with a answer key. Okay. So this is not just for exams. If you're studying a book like Shakespeare or a novel together like El Filibusterismo, you can ask it to create a test bank with answer key about that book. So if it's something that can be found online, especially a classic material, then it would definitely be able to do that. Maybe something for about a movie that you assigned them to watch and you quickly need something to work with. Of course, you can and should edit it based on your current students and what you're teaching them, but it gives you something to work with. So it's a draft that will make your lives easier if you use it properly. So a sample essay. So a lot of people will be able to, will need a sample before they can write their own. So you can have it write a sample essay and then have your students create their own or edit their own. So one of the things that is useful in having something like this is magkaroon na kayo ng examples for the students to work with, and then edit it and make it their own, or at least have the first part done and then add to it. How is that helpful? Because there are kids who are just scared with a blank sheet of paper or a blank screen. But if you already have a paragraph there, the first paragraph done for them, and then they would continue to add to it and until the conclusion, then it might actually help them have more confidence in writing. Okay? Because if you're scared to write in English because I might make the mistakes in grammar or what, and but if you're continuing a conversation that is already started, then it might help them do it better. And also, by the way, Teacher Rose or any other Filipino teacher, I believe you can also do this and have it generate these results in Filipino or in Spanish. Maybe you're studying Spanish. Okay. So pwede, that like the definition for ChatGPT, I asked it to put it in Filipino. Yun nga lang, para siyang Mercano, mga kakaaral lang ng Filipino, slang yung pagkatagalog niya. Literal na literal. Kumbaga, that's why it needs a teacher to modify it. And so here, game changer, but also something that you teachers need to know is, with something like this, how can you make your assessments more realistic or more accurate? If they can just copy paste and then submit to you, are you really assessing the children's abilities to write? No more, diba? So you have to be more creative in assessments. And one of the things is that maybe have them do reporting or narrate to you will give you a better understanding of what they know. Because even if the information was generated by ChatGPT, but if the student can communicate it properly, it means they absorbed it, right? It doesn't matter if it took them 10 hours of going through Google websites and reading about Turkey, for example, the situation in Turkey and Syria because of the earthquake. Or they took an hour to read and understand the result from ChatGPT. If they can report in class or hold a discussion, an intelligent discussion with you on what they learned, then they actually did learn better than if you just ask them to submit an essay. Another way is to have them revise an essay that was generated in ChatGPT. So I just refreshed it, okay? Yes po.
Pwede po namin i-share ito
Saan po?
sa mga bata, sa mga student, yung link.
Okay. I suggest that before you share ChatGPT to your students, you have to learn how to use it first, right? So that you can guide them on what are the ethical or allowable ways to use it, and not, parang you have to present it as a learning tool and not a cheating tool. And in order for you to do that, you have to know how are the ways that my student can possibly use it to cheat, because then you will tailor activities that will allow you to use it as a tool instead of for cheating. So like, I will just share this one, for example. Okay. So we are progressing from the information age to the knowledge age. Information age was because of the internet and because of cell phones. Everything was easily accessible, right? But knowledge takes skills and understanding. And the knowledge age is an era where artificial intelligence processes that information from humans and turns it into artificial knowledge and sometimes decisions. Right? It's not just getting the data, the numbers, the facts. It will give us conclusions, decisions, ideas. I read from a post in a group of science inventors in the Philippines. He had an invention, so he copied the definition or the description of his invention to ChatGPT and asked it to assess his invention if it will work. Okay. ChatGPT gave a very informative answer based on similar inventions in the past that it can find in the internet. Okay. So that's how it it's doing things. This is it's not just intelligent answers anymore or information. It's actually knowledge because it's processed already. Like the summary of a book. Instead of reading the whole book, you now have the summary with you. And sometimes that's all you need to make a decision. One way I've tried to use it before is for Pastor Mark also and Pastor Arvin is to make a sermon. And I could relate it, for example, create a sermon on the life of Paul and relate it to a famous Filipino who also underwent sufferings for Christ. So even I wasn't sure of which Filipino person am I going to choose. If I had that information, I could give it to ChatGPT, but I'm not sure who is a famous Filipino Christian who suffered for Christ. So I just had it create a sermon based on the life of Paul and how his life was also modeled in the life of a Filipino Christian who suffered for Christ. And it created a sermon on that. Again, if, as pastors would know, if you are just copying and pasting a sermon and it's not your own, the people will understand that it's not you speaking. They will see, a very disconnected preaching. But even if it's ChatGPT who helped you come up with that idea or that draft, if you make it your own, you revise it, you study it, and you personalize it, and it's in your heart, then even if it's ChatGPT generated initially, you can deliver it with power and might and with the passion of reaching out with the message of Christ. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yes. Ma'am, hindi rin siya advisable ibigay sa bata kasi hindi malalabas yung tunay na yung learning na naano nila, nakuha nila sa tinuro namin. Parang ganun.
Actually, I don't believe so po. Kasi if you're still giving them assessment that they could easily copy paste from online, then your assessment is the one that needs improving. Right? Like I will give you an example po. Because even if you ban it in schools, they will use it at home. That's why I wanted to let you know how to use it because mangyayari, expert na sila in using it, pero si teachers unaware pa, mahirapan kayong humabol. Diba? Because this is being used in everywhere in the world and they are continually improving it. There are a lot of room for mistakes and improvement for now. But sobrang bilis ng AI in being developed that it's really just a matter of extra time. So it's been an hour now. I don't want to keep you too long, but maybe just give me another 10 minutes to just present you some examples of what you can do with your students. So like here, if you read a news article, but ask ChatGPT to make an essay about it. So the example, as I said, was the situation during Duterte's time. Have them read an article about it, ask ChatGPT to write an essay, and then as a class or as a siya mismo, as a student, analyze the answer. So do you agree with the points made in the essay? Why does this style of writing work? Or why does it feel wrong? Why does it feel biased? How can we improve it? Right? So it's not just coming up with an essay, but the higher level of thinking and analyzing it, applying what you learn about, let's say, what are the elements of a persuasive essay? Okay? What words made it more effective? Next suggested project, discuss the UN SDGs. Use ChatGPT to search for the most pressing problems in your country. So this can be multifaceted. For example, they are assigned a country to research on and represent that country as a delegate in their model United Nations. So for this one, you could have a group represent themselves as Africa and another one as Ukraine. And then, of course, it's hard to research about these things if you're just Googling them. But with ChatGPT, again, what it does is it summarizes, depending on how you ask it, it gets you the information and gives you a condensed form already for you to decide, this is the problems that this country is facing. Okay. And then you can brainstorm possible ideas to solution. Continuing doing that with ChatGPT to help you narrow down the solution and then make it your own by refining it, like, and then presenting it in class. So there is learning there, but it's like faster than how it used to be when you're researching. So it's like you're skipping some stuff, which of course, as a teacher, you now have to figure out what is the objective of the assignment. If your objective is to teach them how to do research, will this be a cheating or innovation? Are you after having them find the best answer that they can ever find on the internet? Or do you really want them to learn how to use a library and physical books and take notes? So it depends on the skill that you're trying to teach them at that point in time. Next suggested project, have ChatGPT write a silly song related to the lesson. So this is helpful for those who are teaching younger kids. Discuss the lyrics in class and work on revising it together. And then come up with a melody and sing that song in class. So even if you're not a very good writer, it can help you come up with something that you can work on in class. Try it. It's really fun. Like, for example, the prompt that I had made was make a silly song about a camel. Silly song about a lonely camel who wanted to know what it's like to live on other continents. Use this to introduce the topic of continents. So here now, oh camel dear, you travel far to every continent by plane or car. The world is big. It's quite a sight. Come with us. Let's take a flight. He landed first in Africa. It's too fast. I'm not able to follow it. But do you get the idea? You're now writing a song that you could use to make it more fun for your younger students or even older students, okay? To introduce the topic of continents. So I know that you have already a continent song that teacher Jocelyn, even Alira remembers that continent song. But this is just a variation, something new that you could do with your students, okay? You can improve it and learn it, and maybe that's their new thing, okay? Make this in Filipino. I'll just try to give that prompt if that's enough for it to understand. Kupko ni Camel nalulungkot. Napapangarap ng ibang lugar na naiiba't maganda. Gusto niyang maglibot sa buong mundo at malaman kung ano ang nasa ibang kaharian. O Camel kung mahal, malalayo ka sa bawat kontinente, sa tren o sa eroplano. Malawak ang mundo, napakaganda, sumama ka, tayo'y maglalakbay na. So, a bit silly, right? But it depends on the prompt. You should actually tell it to, if you want it rhyming, if you want 3 verses, if you want a bridge, the possibilities are really endless on how you can use this tool. Now, lastly, okay, so I actually saw this being done in another webinar about ChatGPT in a Facebook ads group. So they did this step by step together using the ChatGPT. It's to create a digital marketing campaign. So when teaching entrepreneurship, sometimes you're just stuck with having the children make a poster about their product and then you sell it in class, right? This one, especially for senior high school, this is how they will do their jobs. Create a digital marketing campaign. Have them generate a product description, either their own product or copy a product description from, let's say, Shopify. So ito yung specifications of that item, and then copy it onto ChatGPT, say, create an engaging product description for this item. Here are the specifications. Okay, so nilagay mo doon, for example, whitening soap. Tapos ito yung description niya. And it will create to you something that it could use for advertising that particular product. Okay? Because what you're trying to teach here now is not for them to write on their own and come up with a nice essay or article, but what if you're teaching them how to make a marketing campaign, then it speeds up the process. Okay? And then what are the struggles of the people who need this product? And then features and benefits. How does this product solve the problems and what are the best features of this product? So you have an entire list of things that you already know and can use about the whitening soap. So even if you just fed it the description of the whitening soap, if you want to sell it in Shopify, if you want to create a website about it, you can now generate so many things about it. There will be something written about it. People have been using whitening soaps. So the problems are there, the solutions are there, the features, and then create a step-by-step instruction on how to do it. Create a social media marketing calendar. Add a column for the captions. So if you're doing social media now, you even have the topic and the captions, and then you can have it create captions that are more fun. Use witty remarks. What are the quotes that are related to this product? And even after all that, create an ebook. Okay. So the creating an ebook is something also that you could use as a product for your students. Create an ebook about whatever. And so generally what it will start with is an outline. And then you will have ChatGPT explain or expound on each part of the outline. So you don't like come up with a whole ebook in one go. You start with come up with an outline for an ebook on whatever topic. And then ask it to explain or write the chapter 1 of the ebook. Write the chapter 2, write the chapter 3. Write preface, write all the parts of the book that you wanted to be there. And then the what you're actually teaching is the how to, and you're not grading the accuracy or the grammar, because that's not your point, but you're teaching them how to market something. You don't have to be a very good writer in order to actually now start a business, because ChatGPT will help you come up with the best captions and social media posts and content to sell your product. And if that's your goal, to help them get equipped, to have income using their skills, then that for me is a win when you use this tool. So that concludes the samples that I have. Are there any questions or clarifications? It takes a learning curve, but I do encourage you to try it out kasi po, yun nga, mauunahan tayo ng mga bata. As soon as they figure this out, baka marami na sa kanila actually using it. If you know how to use it, then it will also help you generate ideas on how to use it better in your learning. Not just to create your own teacher requirements, but in creating activities that make your students think and not copy paste without understanding what they're getting from ChatGPT.
Thank you lang po, Ma'am Ali, kasi nag-share kayo dito about yung online app. Kasi actually, yung alam ko lang yung galing pa to sa mga pamangkin ko, yung Willbot, and then yung writer. Kasi talaga nakakatulong talaga, Ma'am. even na-share ko rin naman po sa mga teacher ko dito. And then ito po yung bago yung yung chat GPT. Talagang actually wala nga ako idea nung sinend nito sa amin eh. Kaya na-curious naman ako talaga dito. And talaga po magiging helpful to. Natutuwa kami, na-amaze pa kami na nung habang tinatry ko po yung Pero may limitation po ba yung free nito, ma'am?
Sa
Kasi
ngayon,
meron
they
na,
don't have.
okay.
As long as ang feedback from colleagues in the US, sila Jake, remember, when he was trying to demonstrate it to his colleagues as well, nagahang siya. Because yung free, possibly at that time in the US, talagang too many users. It would tell you that there are too many users using it. So that's the drawback for now. That's why I think that's why they're offering the paid version already, which is $20 per month for the paid version. But even Khan Academy is going to roll out a chatbot as an online tutor. They will use ChatGPT. So even while a student is doing the work in Khan Academy and they stumble with the problem, it's like having your own personal tutor to ask, how do I do this? Can you help me understand this? Right? They're rolling out right now in the US for 1,000 users to test and so that they can come up with the best chatbot friend that you can have in Khan Academy. So that's how it is. It's like having a very good professor friend who knows a lot, encyclopedia guy, parang Ernie Baron right there in your computer. But wala siyang morality. However, you could actually ask it to give a perspective. So for example, ask it, imagine that you are a scientist or a psychologist, and this is the problem. This is the mental health issues that I'm encountering with my students. What are your suggestions on how can I help my students? And it will give you a good answer because it can search the internet on what psychologists are advising people that are helpful for this kind of specific issues. Okay? Act as a representative of Russia. How do you defend your war with Ukraine? Tapos yun, pwede yung discussion points yun in class because you are getting an answer that is in the perspective of that kind of person. Or if you are an engineer, from an engineering perspective, is my idea, describe your your invention. Will it work? Or how many similar products actually sell? And it will search all the patents that are available on the internet and tell you, a good enough answer for your query. So you can give it a perspective.
Question pa namang How about
Yes,
yung how about yung sa plagiarism? Halimbawa, meron kang may blog ka sa internet and then kumuha ka dito sa chat GPT. Tapos in-include mo, hindi ka ba wala bang
Sa ngayon, yes po, I understand the question. So sa ngayon, actually, there are even ways to put it in Quillbot or something else so that hindi ka madedetect as AI generated. So kung ang goal mo lang is really to catch the plagiarized output, mahirapan tayo. Even when I tried those GPT-0 and other AI detection tools, minsan yung sinulat ko, sasabihin niya, AI generated. So, feeling robot naman pala ako, di ba? Because it's not accurate. It's just also using AI to detect AI, and AI is also a robot that can make mistakes with that. Kasi may patterns lang siyang dinedetect. Minsan pala yung writing ko parang medyo robotic ang dating. So, kung yun ang gagamitin mo to grade your students, kawawa naman yung totoong nagsulat. Pero, alam mo yun, yung level of writing niya similar kay ChatGPT. So, kaya kailangan nating maging more transparent and more creative in using it. Like, you can have your students come up with 5. Kasi every time you type the same question, ChatGPT will give you a different result. It's generating you a different thing. So hindi siya copied off from the internet. It actually, made its own explanation, made its own answer. So hindi siya plagiarized, di ba? Pero a student will need to verify that and double check yung sinabi ni GPT, maybe add actual resources based sa sinabi ni GPT. Okay, ito yung binigay sa akin ng ChatGPT. Ang assignment ko ngayon is to prove, to make it better and add proof. Diba? And add my own experience, in my own experience. Diba? So, yun yung how to avoid plagiarism. But just a simple question. Itong gagawin mo, essay, write an article, tapos submit. Hindi na talaga siya feasible as a learning tool for that kind of assignment po.
Just like ng Philbot, ma'am, na bibigyan ka ng different phrases dun sa sentence.
Mababago niya eh.
Yes,
So, hindi na madedetect.
yes.
So, pinplagiarize niya yung AI generated din. So, hindi pa siya accurate. But, kaya nga, narration is one of the good things na may ma-practice talaga din. Discussion. Kasi kung anong laman ng utak siyang lalabas, hindi lang yung kasi pag ginawa mo, sige, walang computerized, kailangan handwritten yung essay natin para walang computer. Hindi pa rin yun effective kasi minsan yung mga bata na to hindi talaga sanay magsulat eh. So baka masiro nyo sila, hindi dahil sa wala silang alam, kundi tamad talaga sila mag-ballpen. Kahit ako hindi na makabuo ng mahabang pag ballpen lang.
Yes po, ma'am. And then, ma'am, yung pag halimbawa, di ba minsan gagawa tayo essay, hindi natin maumpisahan.
Yun. So may prompt siya.
Yeah.
Give me an introduction to an essay about this. Tapos have the students, parang pwede rin parang choose your own adventure. Yun yung mga possible na And then, kaya mo siya mabibigyan ng personalized na approaches. You have to put in your own experience or your own, for example, your own political ideas. So, lagay mo dun sa written mo, hindi ka generic lang. So, lalabas yung alam ng bata.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Welcome po. I hope na you would be able to maximize using it for the benefit of our students and, teach them how to use it wisely as well.
Yes po, ma'am. Thank you so much.
And I hope it helps you sa mga exams and learning lessons na kailangan nyo i-produce. Pwede mo rin siya pagawin ng make an outline for my presentation or my slideshow in blank topic, kung ano man yung topic mo. O tapos, pagawa mo ko ng script, ito. So for slide 1, ito yung topic. Give me a script to explain this one. So, dadali yung buhay mo. Pero, yun na nga, kung nagbabasa ka lang, obvious naman yun eh. Pero kung galing sa puso mo, kasi alam mo naman yung topic, you just needed something fast to help you come up with the lesson na mai-deliver mo, save you time lang. Pero hindi mo magagawa yun na parang, alam mo naman yung pag nagre-report sa harap mo, hindi naiintindihan yung sinasabi niya.
Correct po. Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome po. Any other questions po?
Ma'am Ali, good afternoon po.
Good afternoon po.
Ma'am Ali, mas maganda po ba, di ba po yung nabanggit nyo, mas maganda yung talagang own compose mo, yung halimbawa sa talata, kailangan sarili mong compose mas maganda dahil yun nga po tulad na nabanggit nyo, maganda yung bukas sa puso mo ang isinusulat mo para at least mas malawak at lalawig pa ang ginagawa mong pagsusulat. Lalo na halimbawa sa paggagawa po sa essay, katulad sa Pilipino po, may pinagawa ako. Then nagbigay muna ako ng introduction bago nila dinugtungan para at least meron na silang stepping stone kung ano ang susunod na talata sa pangalawa, sa pinakakatawan.
Opo,
Yan po.
tama po. Ang may tutulong po siguro ni ChatGPT sa inyo is yung mag-isip ng ideas kung ano yung topics at saka para dun sa alam nyo, nakikita nyo naman siguro yung mga batang mas hirap talaga. Minsan, mas magagawa nila kung mayroon silang maraming example as guide. Or meron na silang essay na gawa ng AI, tapos i-revise nila, lagyan nila ng kanilang perspective. So, iba yung grading nun, of course, kesa dun sa completely from scratch sila ang gumawa. Pero kung ang goal po natin is makita yung different aspects ng kanilang pagkatuto, minsan ang gusto mo makita ay kung ano yung saloobin niya and kailangan niya ng isang bagay na written na para may mabuo siya versus sa blanco yung papel, na blanco ka na lahat. Kasi hindi ka na makasulat eh. Natakot ka na dun sa blank, di ba?
Yun po, Ma'am Ali.
Welcome po. So kung wala na po, if you have any questions that you want to ask me, just message nyo lang po ako or email me and I'll try my best to help you. As tapos when we have a recording of this, I can share it with you. But I'm sure that you've basically medyo nakuha nyo naman yung gist, hopefully, and you can practice on your own and see the possibilities of how you can use it in your own classroom. So welcome po. Thank you din po for attending,
Thank you
mommies.
po, Ma'am Ali.
I hope you have a nice day and a good weekend.
Apo.
God bless you all po.
Thank you po, ma'am,
Thank
for
you
the
po.
info po.
You're welcome.
Thank you po, ma'am.